Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thank you for tuning in. First on the docket, the Lori Vallow missing children mystery has been solved. That's right. Her niece is positive that the kids are safe. Second, the Ahmaud Arbery update. An autopsy has been released today, and the DAs that were investigating the case may need a good defense attorney. Third, the Evelyn Boswell lack of progress update. Fourth on the docket, inmates trying to intentionally become infected with the coronavirus under the mistaken belief that they would be released. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thank you for watching. If you have not already done so, I would ask you, please hit that little subscribe button. Hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we put up new content or go live, like we will this evening. And also leave us a comment about what we discussed here today. First on the docket, who knew it? The Lori Vallow missing children case has been solved. That's right. The niece of the Idaho mom, Lori Vallow, who's in jail on charges tied to the month-long disappearance of her two children, say that she is positive that those kids are safe and that Lori Vallow is simply trying to protect those kids from some type of harm. Well, that's it. Everybody can go home. Lori Vallow can be released, and we can just get on with this and obviously let everyone have these children come out of their missing place. Yeah, that's right. Unbelievable. Why is this even news? Why am I even talking about it? Because it shows the preposterousness of a situation where family will stick behind somebody in any kind of situation. Now, don't get me wrong. That's what your family is for. I have had lots of moms write good guy letters over the years to say that their son or daughter is a good person and, they made a mistake. I would hope your mom would be able to write that kind of letter. Your family, you would hope, would stand behind you. But at a certain point, you need to come out of the bubble, you need to come out of the haze and realize something is not right. So Melanie Boudreaux, the niece of Lori Vallow, who says she absolutely believes that she will see her two cousins who've been missing since September again, you need to snap out of it, okay? Why don't you get on the phone when Lori calls you and ask her point blank, where are the kids? How can I confirm that they're safe so I can let the authorities know? Third, why did you ask, from whom would you be hiding the children? What is the danger? Now that the fact that everybody would be aware of the danger, wouldn't it be okay to bring the kids out? I get it. They're family. But come on. This is just common sense. You can believe what you want to believe, but there is reality. There are facts. There's not hope. There's not wishing. I live in the reality world. I live in what can they prove? What are the facts? Facts. She hasn't produced her kids. Facts. Lori Vallow ran off with husband number 5 to Hawaii. Didn't invite the kids to the wedding. Didn't pick up the phone to call them. All simple things. And you know all the other facts. You know the fact that the autism dog went back. The school was canceled. Too many facts to ignore. So, Melanie Boudreaux, when you give your interview to the news stations, ask yourself, am I really going to be able to say this with a straight face? Lori Vallow's mother said the same thing. She believes the kids are in danger. Tell me, what danger is that? And why would these children be in danger from anyone at this point? Okay? Even if I was her defense attorney, you know what I would tell her to do? Produce the children. If you think there's some sort of duress of the children, that you can't produce these children because they have some grave danger, the only way that you can receive the duress instruction is to testify as to what the duress is and why it is still ongoing. You have to go to the police immediately upon the duress being done. I think now that she's in custody, that duress defense no longer will work. So, Melanie Boudreau, next time, just have her tell you where the kids are so we can wrap this up. Next on the docket, the Ahmaud Arbery autopsy report has been released. First, it confirms that Mr. Arbery was shot twice in the chest, grazed on the wrist during the, quote, struggle for the shotgun. Now, we aren't going to get into any more of the facts because, frankly, no more new facts have come out as it relates to the investigation as it relates to the death of Mr. Arbery since yesterday when the video came out regarding Mr. Arbery was in a house under construction, that he was there for a couple of minutes and did not take a single thing. And then the McMichaels came up to him with a shotgun, which it's legal to do in Georgia, and got out of the vehicle and wanted to approach Mr. Arbery. Those are the general facts. And ultimately, a jury will decide this case. And the adversarial system that we have set up here in the United States will be the ultimate fact-finding mission as it relates to this matter. Through cross-examination, the greatest truth-seeking tool ever created, the truth will come out. I've said this before, that the greatest thing about the adversarial system that we have here is that the truth, or a pretty darn close version of that truth, is going to come out from the beginning of the case, somewhere in between, or ultimately end. The truth is going to come out. But next on the Arbery matter, an issue that I thought was significant, and now it appears that the Georgia Attorney General, Chris Carr, also believes that it is of great importance, because the Attorney General has announced that he's requesting the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to investigate the Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson and Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill. Now, we know from officers on the scene when they arrived at the homicide of Mr. Arbery that the police officers were going to arrest the McMichaels. But when the district attorney was contacted, Jackie Johnson, she knew the senior Mr. McMichael, and she put the kibosh to it and said, don't arrest him. Ultimately, after some 3 or 4 days, she had to recuse herself. Well, she passed it off to her buddy, George Barnhill, who basically, from what we could tell, poo-pooed the whole thing and wrote a simple report saying that the McMichaels were justified in their actions. Well, the Attorney General now wants the CBI to look into the communications as it relates to and between these two district attorneys. As you may recall, we saw this in the Jussie Smollett case, where the district attorney there said that she was going to recuse herself and then really didn't recuse herself and appointed her deputy in the same office, which wasn't a recusal because it didn't go to an independent district attorney. Now, a lot of people cried foul on that and said that the whole process was rigged. Well, guess what? If you're going to cry foul on that process being rigged, you have to look at this situation and say perhaps the fix was in. Anything less than that would probably be, what do they say? Intellectually dishonest and hypocritical. And so that's why we try to be consistent here. And I get it. We are all hypocrites. It's just a matter of degree. You can't always say your side is right all the time and the other side is wrong all the time when it's convenient for you. It is called intellectual honesty. If you can't say that your guy is wrong some of the time, you lose credibility. I said in the Jussie Smollett case that the district attorney was corrupt, and I'm saying it here in the Arbery case that there was something nefarious as it relates to the district attorneys and their attempt to push this case under the rug. The new district attorney although hindered by the delay to get the case to the grand jury because of the coronavirus and the courts being shut down at least until June, believes that she will take this to the grand jury and get an indictment, which will be made up of at least 15 to some 21 citizens of the state of Georgia, and they will decide if probable cause exists. Whether there's legitimate defenses, that's to be determined in court, not at the probable cause. And like we said yesterday, if that was you or me, 99% of the population, we would have been arrested at the scene. And just on the situation as it relates to the district attorneys, originally the Attorney General had appointed the Atlantic Judicial Circuit District Attorney Tom Durden, lead prosecutor in this particular case. He will be stepping down for unstated reasons. Then the Attorney General, Mr. Carr, appointed Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes to replace Mr. Durden, and she doesn't expect the case to proceed to the grand jury. The governor has stated himself that he has great faith in Ms. Holmes and believes that an investigation needs to be conducted thoroughly and above board with transparency so that everyone can see the truth, which is all anyone here at Crime Talk has asked for. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people beat me up on this particular case for the position that I took. And I said, hey, listen, whether you think that I'm being mean to the McMichaels is not really the case, because if I was their attorney, I would have had that same conversation that I had with you all, outlining the good facts for them, the bad facts for them, and what the law is, not what the law you think it should be. And those are decisions because why? I deal in reality. I deal with facts and the law. And guess what? When you go to court, you can not avoid the facts and you cannot avoid the law. If the bad facts are on your side, you have to embrace them somehow. And if the law is not on your side, you have to embrace the law and show what you can do. Do I think the McMichaels are absolutely dead in the water, so to speak? Absolutely not. They may have a shot because some of that took place off scene. Who knows ultimately what a jury in that jurisdiction will decide. They may think that it was completely justified. Some may think it was not. Some may think that the McMichaels were completely justified in going to stop Mr. Arbery, but that he did not act reasonably by getting out with a firearm when you knew or you could not see a firearm on the individual at all. Like I said, you can't take a shotgun to a fist fight and say you acted reasonably. It's unreasonable under the law. Next on the docket, an Evelyn Boswell lack of progress case update. We reported last week that Maggie Boswell, could possibly have her bond reduced as early as May 28th. This bond reduction hearing date comes shortly after the Tennessee Police and Sheriff Department have stated that they have identified a person of interest in her daughter's death. Now, you would think that they would try to expedite that or bring those facts to light so that the court could consider that in her bond reduction hearing. As you may recall, Maggie Boswell was arrested for making false statements as it related to the location of her daughter. She was originally arrested and the bond was set at $25,000 and then increased to $150,000 after human remains that were later determined to be those of baby Evelyn were discovered on Miss Boswell's family's property. And some of those alleged false statements made by Maggie include that she allegedly told police that her mother, Angie, had taken Evelyn and that she was pregnant with her second child, that Maggie didn't even report her 15-month-old child missing to authorities. And then when the police were actually contacted, Maggie initially claimed that Evelyn was with her father, Ethan Perry, who was on active duty in Louisiana at the time, and he did not have the child. Maggie Boswell went on to further detail a plan to pick up Evelyn from Ethan in a parking lot at a grocery store, which the police alleged to be a complete lie. Obviously, investigating those false information leads, as alleged, slowed down and wasted time and money, and that's why the police are prosecuting Miss Boswell, kind of like what they did to Jussie Smollett. You have two options, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk to the police. Either A, don't say a word, or B, if you're going to talk, you should probably tell the absolute truth. But for most criminal defendants, talking to the police is usually not a good idea. And even though the police actually advise you of your right to remain silent, very few can actually keep quiet. So, in the lack of the investigation as it relates to the Evelyn Boswell matter is that Maggie Boswell will be back in court on May 28th for a virtual bond reduction hearing and ultimately an arraignment on June 19th for an arraignment where she will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Her attorney did seem to indicate that if she had been arraigned at last week's court appearance, that she would have entered a plea of not guilty. Next on the docket, we go to Los Angeles County, California. Now, do you remember our story last week where our dumb criminal contestant of the day was arrested not once, not twice, but 3 times, all in the same day, and released because of the new policies by the Los Angeles County Police Department and court system of giving summons or people receiving a PR bond immediately so as not to clog up the jail? Well, word has gotten around to the inmates at the Los Angeles County Jail that if you have the Corona-19 virus, that you could possibly be released. And so while the sheriffs at the county jail were monitoring surveillance cameras to make sure that the inmates were engaging in appropriate distancing, social distancing, as well as wearing their masks, they caught inmates passing around masks to one another, as well as a cup that people were blowing into and passing it around. And when the sheriff deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office inquired of the inmates, they were under the assumption that if they had in fact been infected with COVID-19, that they would be released from jail. There were some 30 inmates that were apparently caught in this particular scheme, and none of them required any critical care. Apparently some did have some moderate symptoms, but no one has passed away. This came this close to becoming contestants as the dumb criminal contestant of the week. But we didn't do that because we have somebody much dumber than these 30 inmates. But this is one of those life teachable moments. Everyone is always looking for an angle to get out of jail. They will play and exploit just about any angle possible. Not saying some people don't need to be in jail. No one should be in jail longer than reasonably necessary to punish them or to protect the society. But that is an example of everyone always trying to play an angle. Now, today, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Our dumb criminal contestant of the day comes from Modesto, California. And apparently, Gabriel Moreno pulled next to a tanker truck that was hauling wine. Moreno motioned to the truck driver like something was wrong, according to the police reports. When the driver pulled over, Moreno apparently ran from his car wearing only his underwear and ran to the back of the trailer. The driver didn't know where Moreno was and did not know that not only did Moreno run to the back of the trailer, but in fact, he had climbed the attached ladder as the driver ultimately drove away. The driver couldn't see exactly what Moreno was doing and frankly wasn't even sure he was even there. But as the driver proceeded about a mile down the road, he noticed that a gauge was indicating that the truck was losing weight. So the truck driver ultimately pulled over. When the driver did in fact stop, he noticed that Moreno jumped down and laid under the wine pouring from the tank, doing snow or some sort of wine angel and drinking as much wine as he could. Ultimately, Mr. Moreno ran away with bystanders calling officers because they believed the man was running away and that he was in fact covered in blood, not knowing that it was in fact wine. Mr. Moreno was arrested and charged with felony vandalism as well as a misdemeanor driving under a suspended license. No explanation as to why he was in his underwear, but wait, it gets better. Mr. Moreno was quickly released from custody. Why? Because in California, nobody goes to jail anymore, and he was given a quick summons for his release. Well, apparently Mr. Moreno was upset that his release was so expeditious that he wasn't going to get his lunch, a jailhouse sandwich, usually some bread, bologna, and a slice of cheese. But Mr. Moreno, being the sophisticated criminal that he is, immediately went to steal a truck from a neighborhood business just so he could get arrested again and receive his sandwich. And yes, you imagined it. Although Mr. Moreno did get his sandwich, he was ultimately released rather quickly to avoid overcrowding because of the coronavirus. California, I mean, you've got 2 people now that have been arrested 3 and 2 times in one day. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You simply can't make this stuff up. Thank you for watching. We know you have lots of things that you could do with your time, and the fact that you take your time to watch our channel does not go unnoticed. Now, tonight, we're going to go live, and unfortunately, it's going to be not on YouTube, at least not just yet. We're almost done with our YouTube suspension for going live, and so tonight it'll be on Facebook. You can go to Crime Talk on Facebook, and we'll be there. Don't forget, you can also download Crime Talk on a daily podcast anywhere podcasts can be found. And just like Mr. Moreno, you could have a Crime Talk mug if you chose to do so, but you don't have to become a dumb criminal contestant. You can just get one at a very reasonable price and enjoy it and maybe have a glass of wine in it, which I bet Mr. Moreno would like to do since he's probably out stealing somebody's car or wine. You don't have to do that. Just drink your wine out of a mug. Let's give it a shot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you tonight as we go live on Facebook. Have a great day.